Panther Nation, what's good with y'all, man? We back with another episode of Sign or Walk, okay? This is a part of the Sign or Walk series. We took care of Curtis Samuel last week, and we're moving on to Rasul Douglas. Wait, but before we get into that, y'all know I gotta do it. Make sure y'all hit that like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and make sure y'all hitting these comments, man. We got so many comments and so much activity on that Curtis Samuel video. I'm loving it, bro. I'm loving it. Appreciate all the support. And listen, I'm moving. The support has been so great recently that I'm moving the goalposts. I'm moving the goalposts. I think we can get to 4,000 subscribers, honestly, by maybe next week. With the way things are moving, I think we can get there by next week. So I'm moving the goal for the huge draft party to 5,000 subscribers, okay? 5,000 by the draft. Hey, lofty goals. Hey, closed mouth don't get fed, all right? So listen, we gonna roll with it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you liking. Make sure you comment. Make sure you getting the algorithm right. Go watch the draft videos. Go watch the top 10 videos. Tune in on Mondays. Everything, bro. Make sure y'all supporting the channel. We blowing up right now. Things are going very well. So, get into it. Rasul Douglas. Listen, y'all know how I feel about Rasul Douglas. I'm a fan of Rasul Douglas. And I think he had an up and down season. I think he started off very strong, had some really good performances, had some not so good performances. And we're going to break all those down. We're going to talk about it, okay? We're going to talk about it. All right, before we get into that, we got to understand where we came from, okay? We got to understand where we came from with Rasul Douglas. Rasul Douglas was initially drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles in 2017 in round 3. Again, very good player out of West Virginia. Again, part of that Super Bowl winning roster. People forget that he was on that team, played a very integral part in that Super Bowl win. So, listen, gotta respect Rasul Douglas. He knows what it takes to win a Super Bowl. That's why I think it's very important. That's kind of that intangible piece that we don't really talk about much when you're talking about these players. But he has a Super Bowl experience, okay? And that's very important. However, in 2020, before the 2020 season started, he was let go. He was let go, waived by the Philadelphia Eagles. For some reason, I guess the scheme didn't fit with him. He didn't work with what they were trying to do. And if you talk to any Eagles fans, they'll tell you that he was improperly used. Okay, and so they loved him. He just wasn't used well in the system. So you have we took advantage of that. And again, the Pat Stewart Connect, he made it happen. Pat Stewart, being on the Philadelphia Eagles front office at one point, knew Rasul Douglas and knew what he had in Rasul Douglas. So he said, hey Philly, y'all let him go. We're going to pick him up. So we picked him up off of waivers. He became a member of the Carolina Panthers early September. 3 days later, the dude ended up playing a lot of games because Eli Apple was hurt. Dante Jackson went down, so he has to play immediately. I mean, the dude didn't even get but three practices with us, and he was on the field. So he did a really good job against some of the better receivers in the game. DeAndre Hopkins, he held him to 18 yards. Did a solid job against Mike Evans the first game, holding him to 11 yards on him. And then he held Allen Robinson to 29 yards. Against Detroit, he had a very good game. So he had some really good games, and then he had some not so good games. Again, he struggled against Denver's KJ Hamler and Jerry Jeudy. They did work on him. And then Kansas City, he struggled against Kansas City. Again, who doesn't? But Travis Kelce gave him some work in that game. And in the second Tampa Bay game, Mike Evans did go ham on him. So didn't go ham, but he had a really good game against him. So he had an up and down season. There's a couple other games we could talk about, but again, all that to say, he had an up and down season. But he finished the season. I think he had 0 interceptions. That's a problem. 0 interceptions is a problem. We need to have more interceptions, and that's what's going to limit him from hitting the open market and asking for big money, because he doesn't have the picks. However, he did have 8 pass breakups. Those 8 pass breakups had him tied for 18th in the league. So that was a very good stat. He was in there breaking some passes up, but just did not have the interceptions, okay? Did not have the interceptions. Now, that being said, again, up and down season for Rasul Douglas. But there were some good things to take away from that. That being said, let's jump into the reasons as to whether we should sign or let him walk, okay? Sign or let him walk, okay? First thing, we're going to start with age. He's 25 years old. 25 years old. He's young. He turns 26 in August. He's going to be in his prime. He is in his prime, playing pretty darn good football. Playing solid football, okay? Not a bad corner. Not a great corner either, but I'd say he's above average cornerback. And right now he's in his prime, okay? that being said, we got to talk about position of value. Is the cornerback a valuable position? It 100% is. It 100% is a valuable position. Cornerbacks make a direct impact on how well a quarterback is playing. Again, quarterback is the most valuable position in the game. When you're guarding a wide receiver, you're impacting how well the cornerback and wide receivers are playing. When you can interrupt that connection, you're valuable. You're valuable to a defense, okay? That's why the cornerback position is valuable. Us as Panther fans have gotten away from valuing the cornerback. We've gotten so used to having these amazing front fours and all this, we've had the Peppers, the Brian Burns. We have all these good pass rushers, but the cornerbacks have been lackluster. And then when we do have them, have a good one, we don't pay them because we don't value the cornerback, or we don't value the cornerback position. We need, as a fan base and as a front office, need to start valuing the cornerback position. It is a valuable position. So yes, it checks that box. It is a valuable position, okay? Now, let's move on to his durability. This is one that I added in from last week, talking about Curtis Samuel. A lot of you guys commented and asked about injury history. So durability is what we're going to get into next. He doesn't have a lot of injuries, Rasul Douglas. Rasul Douglas did miss a couple games of COVID this year, but he's had a couple other minor injuries, but nothing as far as ACL tears or major surgeries or anything like that. He's been rather durable, so he checks that box as well. Now, moving on to asking price. Asking price, okay? Listen, I don't have a real strong number, but I'm just going to base it off a couple things. I just think he's going to be in the range of $5 to $7 million per year. He's not gonna make a ton of money just because he doesn't have the picks. He doesn't have the picks that other cornerbacks have that are making $15, $16 million a year. He just doesn't have that. He does have a lot of pass breakups, but not a lot of picks. And those picks are like sacks for defensive ends and edge rushers. Those sacks are worth a lot of money. Okay, and the picks are just not happening for Rasul Douglas. So that's going to limit what he can get in the open market. So that's why I said from $5 to $7 million per year is what he's gonna get, and I think that's very, very affordable for a number 2 cornerback. Yes, I said it, a number 2 cornerback, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But yes, asking price, I don't think he's gonna ask for a ton of money, and I think it's gonna be affordable to make that happen. Again, I hear some of y'all saying it right now. Oh, why don't Curtis Samuel was only gonna get $7 to $8 million, and you said that was potentially too much. Hold that thought. Now, there's a stark difference, and we'll talk about that in a second. All right, so now let's get into whether his production is replaceable or not. And one could argue, yes, a number 2 cornerback is replaceable in a draft. I have no problem with that. No problem with anybody saying that. But the differences between keeping Curtis Samuel and keeping Rasul Douglas is that Curtis Samuel, he has CMC. We still have CMC. We have DJ Moore. We have Robbie Anderson. We have Omar Bayless. And I understand that we got to make a decision on DJ Moore in the near future. I understand that. We got to make a decision on Robbie Anderson. He's going to be a free agent after next year. I understand that. We've got Omar Bayless, and the wide receiver is stacked. Or wide receiver position in the draft is stacked. Okay, there's a ton of wide receivers out there, so you can replace a Curtis Samuel easily. And trust me, I love Curtis, bro. It hurts me to say that. I'm with y'all because there was a lot of people in their feelings watching that Curtis Samuel video. I get it. But the difference between Rasul Douglas and Curtis Samuel, obviously the position. But listen, look at the depth behind Rasul Douglas, okay? You got Dante Jackson, Miles Hartsfield, Troy Pride Jr., Stanley Thomas Oliver. That's just not going to cut it from a depth perspective, okay? It's not going to cut it. And yes, you can say you can go out and get a number 1 cornerback. We do need to draft a number 1 cornerback. I agree. We need to go out and get a number 1 corner. No problem with that. But the problem, if you let go of Rasul Douglas, you don't have a solid number 2. Dante Jackson, yeah, he could be, but he barely stays on the field. And I think he's more of an interior slot guy. That's just my personal belief. So if you have an interior slot guy playing a number 2 cornerback, that ain't gonna cut it. We need a bigger outside cornerback like Rasul Douglas to be out there at the number 2 cornerback position. So you cut him. That's all that we got left. So is it production replaceable? It's debatable. So that's why it's red up here, is that yes, his production is technically replaceable, but it makes it real choppy when you let him go, okay? All right, so that being said, let's jump into why I think we should sign or let Rasul Douglas walk. And my personal belief is that we should sign Rasul Douglas. He needs to be re-signed for the reasons I said earlier, okay? Listen, Miles Hartsfield, Stanley Thomas Oliver, Troy Pride, Dante Jackson, that depth is awful, okay? We need to keep some continuity there in the secondary room. Not only that, he has a Super Bowl experience. He knows how to win. He knows what it takes to be a part of a Super Bowl roster. And he brings leadership to that position room. Do y'all remember back when we were getting smacked by the Tampa Bay Bucks and he said he was looking around and everybody's face just seemed like they were okay with it? So he went up to Matt Rule and said, yo, we need a players only meeting. And he's the one that said, hey, we need to start playing for each other. We need to figure out our whys. So everybody went up in front of the podium and they said, hey, this is what I'm playing for. I'm playing for such and such. I got my mom, in Teddy Bridgewater's case, his mom had cancer, blah, 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 blah. They started to get to know each other. That was based off of Rasul Douglas's recommendation. Stuff like that, those intangibles is what you need. And listen, this is not a James Bradbury or a Jalen Ramsey style deal. We're talking about half of that money. So it's not going to cost us a lot, in my opinion. Could he go out there and ask for a lot? Sure, he can ask for it, but I just don't think his production, his numbers dictate him receiving a large contract. That's why I say you go out, get him for a $5 to $7 million contract, and I think you should re-sign him. I think you should definitely make that happen, man. This is a different situation. Our secondary is thin if you let Rasul Douglas walk. So those are my reasoning that's my reasoning as to why we should keep Rasul Douglas. If you disagree, make sure you like, subscribe, and get in the comment section and let me know, okay? Let me know how you feel about it. I know a lot of y'all was in y'all feelings about the Curtis Samuel, let Curtis Samuel walk. That's cool. I hear you. But let me know how y'all feel about Rasul Douglas, okay? Because I personally think we should keep him. I don't think it's an expensive signing. I don't think it's gonna kill us. We'll be fine. We can free up some money, letting go some guys. So I don't think it's a big deal signing him to a $5 to $7 million deal. All right. That being said, again, make sure y'all get in the comment section. Make sure y'all let me know what y'all thinking. And stay tuned for the next one. Let me know who y'all want to see next, all right? I'm out. Peace.